JLogR here. Welcome back to the channel. And today I want to go over a deck that I kind of created, testing out is Ace. Ace in OP03 kind of started off strong. It was interesting. Complete removal of any character uh, that your opponent plays, except for some black cards by effects. But just to quickly go over what Ace does is that when this leader attacks or is attacked, you may trash any number of events or stages from your hand. This leader gains 1,000 more power during the battle or for every trash card. So a little bit of more utility or versatility to either finish the game or defend yourself. Um, but it's the cards that basically made this deck, the Whitebeard cards. Whitebeard cards of 5 cost Marco, potentially Vista. Unfortunately, Vista's not in this deck profile, but Seaquake, Flame Emperor, especially for exclusively for Ace. This deck was interesting. The only thing I found, uh, what was a problem that I personally experienced, is developing a board against your opponent. You're spending so much on your events to clear characters, but you can't defend yourself or have characters to help kind of finish up the game. And then, especially in the post restricted format, where you can only have one Whitebeard, one Radical Beam, and then one 4-drop Marco, it kind of hurt Ace more than it hurt Whitebeard, because Whitebeard's still topping in tournaments. Zoro is still topping in tournaments. The restriction mainly hurt this deck more than anything else. So I've been playing Luffy. If you've been following the channel, there's been a lot of matches I've been posting with Luffy, and Luffy kind of played like Ace, like how I've been playing it. It's just complete removal, but still being able to develop a board with rush characters, characters that can help minus power, so I can use things like Jet Pistol, Fire Fist, and things to remove. So just going into this deck profile, we'll start with the events. Uh, this is something I'm still tweaking, but it is kind of working out pretty nice. I still need to get used to using Ace's effect to finish off games. I did a local recently, very competitive. There's a lot of good players I was playing that day. Card Ape, uh, the winner of Treasure Cup from OP01 in Niagara Falls. My locals is pretty stacked up when it comes to playtesting in locals. So I felt like I got a pretty good grasp of the deck now that I've experienced meta related decks and matchups. So uh, some of the matches were close calls. I should have technically won two of my matches because I didn't pitch to increase my power. So that's a misplay on my half. But yeah, we're starting with two strikers. After developing a board, I don't usually use striker off the bat because it does tend to bottom deck all my characters. So when I have characters on board and I need a specific event to help minus or remove, that's when I start using striker. So like turn one, if this is the only kind of card to play, sure, great. Striker is a great way to start, but I usually don't use this effect until later on. Now for removal, a little controversial. Two Flame Emperors, two Jet Pistols, two Fire Fists, and two Sea Quakes. So Fire Fist has been, I guess, the big change for OP03, but it is costly. The fact that you do have to pitch another card, but having Striker is great because you can obviously gain a card for free by just tapping to Dawn to use it. But sometimes other minus effects that I have in this deck, I would prefer to see Seaquake, Jet Pistol, or even Flame Emperor. Um, Fire Fist is more of like a last resort for me, even though I tend to do use it. When my opponent is trying to develop board, this is obviously the go-to to clear that board. But opponents like Whitebeard, you're most likely going to be using Flame Emperor, Jet Pistol, and Seaquake over the Fire Fist because they're usually playing one major character per turn. Now, for the minusing cost, minusing power, I run three crossfires. Crossfires is minus 4K, but it can also be played as a counter. I know some people have put out the idea of leaving 4 Dawn up with a Crossfire and Red Hawk in hand, and you can KO basically a lot of things on your opponent's turn. But it is kind of costly to keep up 4 Dawns. But minusing 4K is a huge chunk to minus, and you can use your searchers to basically help clear board by attacking, let's say, a 6K character or a 6K power attack character is has already attacked. If I use Crossfire to minus 4K to bring them down to 2K, my searchers can start kind of poking. So it puts my opponent into a decision where I can just counter a 1K, I lose a card, but there's another searcher that can attack it, so that's another 1K, and then there's still a leader or a bigger body that will for sure clear it. So am I going to waste all my resources just to protect my 2K attack power character at that moment? As you can see, uh, my spice is 2 round tables. This helps me guarantee removal of anything. A lot of flexibility if I already have characters on board, like some of my rush characters in my deck. This will help, especially with my searchers, to help clear board. Just imagine facing an 8 drop kid. You minus 10K, so he's -2, and your Otama swings for 0K. It's kind of crazy. Um, it also works well for 5 Dawns in total. So just like a like Otama jet pistol, you can do round table Seaquake, round table Fire Fist. There's a lot of flexibility. Unfortunately, you can't do round table Flame Emperor, but at that point, if you're going to do that, if you're at 9 or 10 Dawns, you're looking at uh, Crossfire, Flame Emperor, if anything, to basically clear anything. For counter, it's not a lot, to be honest. It's just 2 guard points, 1 Radical Beam, and 1 Red Hawk. So Red Hawk is great off life to help save yourself in the game. And it also helps for when you're facing either Zoro or Law. Ace has always had an upper hand against Law. Against a specific Zoro decks, it might be a little bit tough because they're either playing bigger cost characters or they have too many characters to even bother like saving resources for Red Hawk. And it is kind of like telling when you do have it or not. I would like to have more Red Hawks, but it's kind of tight in this deck. So these are my events. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 17 events. Surprisingly, 17 events, 2 stages. I'll spread these out again in a second, but we'll take a look at the characters in this deck. I am planning to post another video for gameplay of this deck. I don't have any major tournaments happening later in OP03, so trying to make content for matches and stuff like that. I am planning to try to do more in-person things with my friends. But yeah, so I do rock Makinos, 3 of them, 4 Otamas, and then because this deck is a Strawhat version, or a Strawhat engine, I do rock choppers, and my searchers are 4 Namis and then 4 Izos. So these are my 1 drops. Surprisingly, I don't play the Dawn. Makino and Otama is what I usually draw into, whether if it's something I mulligan into or from life or just draw. Basically, Makino helps with boosting these 2 up. Surprisingly enough, I've actually used Makino on Otama and Chopper to swing, especially after minusing something like with Crossfire, just to help boost these 1 costs to clear over these minus characters. In regards to the characters that I play, there is Whitebeard characters and Straw Hat characters. So for my attackers, I run two Zoros, uh, two Robins. I have obviously the one of Marco blocker, so I do have three blockers in the deck. Two 4-drop Brooks that minuses 2k on two characters. So you've seen me play this a lot with my Luffy deck. So it kind of goes well with the Ace deck to help fix the math for removal. Three Marcos, the 5-drops. Uh, one Edward Newgate, 9-drop, and then three Aces. So these are my characters in my deck. In regards to the ratios, it's kind of 50-50. So there are times where you whiff when, let's say, there are times that, logically speaking, I would have both Nami and Izo in hand, and I would, let's say, have in my hand, I have three Whitebeard characters, and then, or three Whitebeard cards, and then two Straw Hat cards, and I would draw it for turn. It's another Whitebeard card. I would assume to play Nami first to search because the chances of finding a Straw Hat card, not including the characters, what's great about these two is that they can also draw into events. Izo can search, obviously, most of the removal stuff and Striker. So Striker, Flame Emperors, Fire Fist, Sea Quake, Crossfire, and then Nami can search Jet Pistol, Guard Point, Radical Beam, and Red Hawk. The only card that's not searchable in this deck is the two round tables, the Otama and Makino. So that's 9 cards out of the deck that's not searchable. So I felt like this ratio is it kind of works, but sometimes just out of luck you can whiff pretty bad. That's what happened to me in my last match against a buddy that played Dofi. I feel like Ace would have a good upper hand against Dofi, but my searches kind of ruined my curve to play certain things. Um, so this is the deck. Some of the, let's say, starting hands I would like to have. For character wise, I don't mind having these two in hand, whether if it is starting hand or if I draw into both of them one way or form. It's cool to actually drop this when I'm at 7 dawns, so I can drop both of them, and then my opponent has to figure out how to deal with at least one of them. Obviously, for starting hand searchers, Nami and Izo, Chopper is great to have. Just having like, I know in Whitebeard there is the 2-cost, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Fosi, blocker for Whitebeards. Uh, but 2 cost is a little bit high, and it is a tight deck. There is one card that I want to have squeezed in. Speaking of 2 costs and a Whitebeard card, is Haruda. Um, what's missing in this deck is the ability to move a Rested Dawn to, let's say, Brook or Robin for the effect, to put on either Marco to round it up to 7, help Newgate use the effect as well. So that effect that Luffy, starter deck Luffy has, usually is what I would aim to help achieve kind of the effects here. But if you kind of slow it down and pace yourself in this deck, in this build, um, attaching a Dawn physically is okay. It is doable. It's great to have the rush. I do want to squeeze in the unblockable Luffy because there are times where there might be too many blockers where I couldn't just drop down the 5-drop and swing for game. But what's great about this build is that you have a little bit more characters to kind of flex with that complements Ace, especially the basically these main attackers, Ace, Marco, Robin, and Brooke, for the flexibility. Attached on uh, while attacking -2k on two characters really helps the math. If there's two 5Ks or two 6Ks, I can swing with Brook and then use Fire Fist to clear two characters. If there's two 6Ks, that basically fixes the math there. A 7K and a 6K both brings it down to a 5 and a 4, which is perfect for Fire Fist. But a lot of times, probably the number one card that I used most in the deck, or what I search for, is Crossfire. Uh, Crossfire with Robin, Marco, as well as Newgate, and Crossfire with any of these KO events, Sea Quake, Fire Fist, Jet Pistol, and Flame Emperor, goes a long way. And the fact that Flame Emperor, not Flame Emperor, Fire, nope, wow, I'm forgetting the name of the card, even though I just spoke about it. Uh, Crossfire basically could help these one costs, because I've also swung with Chopper before too. These one costs, all five one costs I have in this deck, help swing at characters that are usually way higher. Machina obviously helps boost up characters, and then basically having these characters, Brook, Robin, Zoro, in regards to Marco, a lot of my opponents probably won't swing into the Marco because my deck usually has a lot of events. So they wouldn't want to waste too many resources trying to clear the Marco. But sometimes it is good to keep swinging at the Marco because they want to clear events out of my hand that I would be using on the next turn. So yeah, gameplay coming soon. I just wanted to share a new deck. I'm surprised. I've seen Brooks in Ace decks, but I haven't seen many people actually adopting the full Strawhat engine. So I am going to take a moment to fully display all the cards here so you can kind of take a look at my deck profile. But yeah, this is what I'm going to be playing for the rest of OP03. Some tweaks probably to it after playing a couple more games. I do want to squeeze the Harudas, maybe another Red Hawk and or Guard Point. But yeah, let's kind of space this out. So I am also gonna still post a couple of matches I did on the I forgot which event it was. I think it's Carta Magica, a treasure cup that I did running Ace, but it was kind of like the standard Ace that is all Whitebeard. I did well with some matches, but it was still tough on others. Just gonna put that one drops. Because I do want to kind of see or show the struggles Ace have, not being able to develop their own board after clearing your opponent's board. So you're just basically leader swings leader between the two. All right, removals, minuses, and counters. So that's the deck profile. Feel free to screenshot, take a look at it, try it out. Let me know what you think about it. This obviously, me not being able to play any major events until OP04. I think the only event that I have coming up majorly, but is the Niagara regional. It's either regional, it's the Niagara offline. I'm pretty sure it's a regional. I might be doing like one or two 3v3s, but I do have to travel across the border. The channel has been doing great, especially after I'm used to calling him Arthur, but Othavan's Croc deck profile. I've been posting a lot of videos. I've been slowly gaining my subscribers. So if you like what I'm putting out and posting, both whether if it's matches or these deck profiles, please do subscribe, like, comment. Love the engagement, and I'm loving the feedback I'm getting from the community. It's great seeing, or especially in Gen Con, I haven't really talked about it, but especially in Gen Con, there was a lot of content creators out there, but it was great. It was a great feeling to have random people come up to me and acknowledge or notice who I was, even though out of all the content creators that were at Gen Con, I was probably the only one that wasn't even monetized. So the fact I'm not monetized and I have people acknowledging my videos and just like, oh, I watch your videos, um, and people remember me from that was a cool experience, even though my friends were mocking me about it. So, uh, yeah. So like, subscribe. We'll be posting more deck profiles. I know it's red base that I've been doing a lot, but that's more of my comfort level. And like, to be honest, when you look at the characters on this playmat right now, these are basically all my favorite characters here, like including Izo. Uh, but yeah, Robin, Nami, Chopper, Zoro, Ace himself. Uh, One of my favorite characters, and it's cool to just play with them. Uh, it's it is cool to play other colors, but I like playing it because I've been playing red. But the only reason why I was playing red is because Straw Hats themselves. So I know the Straw Hats are showing up in different colors, and if there is a better, well, I think I might do the Dofi deck, OP04, because of the film engine, which does have a lot of the Straw Hat characters in it. So that might be something I might run in OP04. OP04 is most likely going to be Rebecca and Dofi. I am going to figure out if Luffy and or Ace can still fit in the meta for OP04, but that'll be something that I'll be working towards to and potentially putting a video out. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.